Greetings, everybody. Welcome to Discussing Tabletop. It is, of course, November 7th, 2020. Crazy day. Lots of crazy things happening this last week. Last couple of weeks. Halloween and Election Day. You know, it's just been a lot of insanity, and there sounds like there's probably a call for firefighters in the background. Mm-hmm.
And then it exploded. And turned inside out, Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget about it turning inside out.
But we do have a pretty good docket of stuff for you today. Let me tell you this week. If we had last week's and we'd gone to this week, I would have had jack shit to talk about this week.
I do have one bonus item I want to bring up.
Ah, okay.
That takes like 2 seconds. It's not a big thing.
Okay. Well, then we'll add Joe's bonus item to the back end of there. So we're going to start with some D&D. Unearthed Arcana. Another one came out. It's more subclasses. They keep throwing them out. Maybe they'll put out a book of, like, subclasses and class guide and stuff. We'll see. Then they've got 2 Munchkin games out. A Munchkin and Mazes, which is a new, seemingly base set-ish type Munchkin thing. And, of course, Munchkin Disney, for if you're a big Disney fan. We're going to move into then some more kind of fantasy type things with Fantasy Fluxx. The first, like, core, I would call it, like, core generic Fluxx set we've had in a while. A lot of Fluxxes lately have been like Star Trek, Deep Space Nine, Star Trek Next Generation, Batman, all those other weird ones. I don't know if there was a Batman. There might have been a DC and a Marvel one. I can't remember all, but, you know, a lot there. Then the Alien RPG is up on Roll20. We'll talk about that for a little bit. And then Star Trek Adventures has 2 things out. The Klingon core book, which we did talk about a little while ago, it's been released. And they have a Back to Reality supplement, which is kind of like a supplementary adventure that they've come out with. I guess let's start with the top of the list, Unearthed Arcana.
Oh no, my Arcana got unearthed.
I mean, if it didn't, that would be definitely just a little bit... I don't know where I was going to go with that one. I was going to go some way.
Stop unearthing my Arcana!
No. You have to say it like Tim Curry in Clue. So, this Unearthed Arcana is all about dragons. There you go, Lightning. Dargan Unearthed Arcana. We got Way of the Ascendant Dragon for monks. So it's a subclass for monks that emulates the power of dragons. And Drake Warden, a new ranger subclass with a Drake companion, which is like a mini dragon. So, yeah. It's a very dragon-centric Unearthed Arcana. So, yeah, we start with the Way of the Ascended Dragon for monks, which...
You got some cool-ass abilities.
Mm-hmm. You can change your damage to elemental damage. It feels like use your dragon to your unrestricted the essence of dragon's breath. The thing is, you choose, it seems like, the elemental damage. So it's like you're not bound to one dragon, I feel like, from that. So like you can gain the following benefits of changing your damage type. You learn to read and speak Draconic. If you fail at Charisma, Intimidation, or Persuasion check, you can use your reaction to reroll the check and tap into Mighty Presence of Dragons. Use that once per long rest.
And you get Breath of the Dragon.
Oh, and that... I was going to say, though, unless that turns that to a failure into a success, then you can't use it again.
Sorry. Yes.
Oh, you need a link. I will throw you that link up in the chat. But you can talk about Breath of Dragons then.
You get a Dragon Breath. You choose what you want. It's 20-foot cone or a 30-foot line that is 5 feet wide. Your choice.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wait. Wow. That's actually really flexible if you think about it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you don't have to go by what the standard is. You could make a 30-foot line of poison.
Yeah.
Or something like that. So that's actually really flexible.
Well, yeah, like 30-foot line, 20-foot cone, your choice. And the thing is, other than the energy, the damage it does is equal to...
2 rolls of your martial arts die
yeah.
on a failure, or half as much damage on a success.
Yeah. And at 11th level, it's 3 rolls of your martial arts die. You can use it a number of times per day equal to your proficiency bonus and regain extended uses when you have a long rest. You can also spend ki to use that feature.
Yeah.
So you can spend a ki point to do it extra times. That's pretty good. That means you can get up to like 5 times per day that you could do like... Even if you're only doing a D8, that's still like 2D8 or maybe like 3D8 for your martial arts dice. That's pretty good.
Yeah. So you can do a poison punch and a lightning breath.
Yeah.
On someone.
Eventually, then, you get some spectral draconic wings that give you a fly speed equal to your walk speed. Again, it's based on your proficiency
It'll be into
bonus.
your turn.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's a little... Yeah, the damage scaling is a bit low, but I think what it is you can use it a lot of times. And like, if you think about how a monk has key points equal to their level, I could just do that. That means at 6th level, 6 more times. That's
not just that, but you also have that extra variety.
Because you can choose whether it's a cone, line, and the element each time.
Yeah.
So you can customize it in between attacks. Yeah, so like if you think about it,
you're getting an AoE attack, which monks normally don't get.
Yeah, so it's like, yes, you're not doing a lot of damage, but you're getting an AoE attack that you can use a good amount of times that monks don't normally have. That kind of feels like it balances out. And the flying thing where you can fly temporarily, that's kind of neat. Then eventually you get the aspect of the worm, which, as a bonus action, you create an aura of draconic power in 30 minutes. For 33 for 1 minute. Sorry. You choose acid, cold, lightning, fire, or poison, and all your allies within the area gain the resistance to that energy, and you get waves of destruction.
When you get hit, you or your allies in the aura get hit, they do damage back.
Yeah.
They can
the
use
target
a
that was
reaction
hit can use a reaction to deal damage equal to your martial arts die to the attacker. That's pretty good.
That's pretty awesome, yeah.
And you get it once per long rest, or you can spend 4 key points to use it again. And finally, then you can get you get blind sight 30 feet. The damage to creatures with your dragon's breath. The energy clings to the target. That they have to make a. At the start of each of creature's turns, they take damage for the type you dealt equal to your martial arts dice. At the end of the turn, they can repeat the save to get rid of it. So basically, it gets clinging, which is pretty cool. And when you activate the aspect of the worm, then you also kind of explode out and choose a number of creatures within your aura that you can see, and they take 40-10 of the appropriate damage of your aura. Actually, no. I don't even think it's equivalent to your aura, because creatures take 40-10 acid, cold, fire, lightning, or poison, and it says your choice at that point in time. So it's like you could choose, I'm choosing cold aura, but also you take acid damage. I mean, if you want to really do it weirdly. Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you basically it's a monk that can do AoE.
I think that's a really interesting build for a monk. I would like to see what people think about it, definitely at this point in time. But I feel like it definitely adds a very interesting aspect to monks. I like the theming of it's very cool. I would say, you're pulling on draconic powers, on dragon powers. And the idea of, you get a little bit of flying, you get these, energy areas. It feels like a better Way of the Elements, almost. Because Way of the Elements is I use a bunch of ki to cast spells. These are I've got some elemental abilities, and I can use extra times of it with ki, if I really want to.
Yeah.
And I think that's where you kind of get an advantage over the Way of the Elements. Because Way of the Elements, it always felt like it was very expensive for doing some very cool things. I feel like this kind of balances out, kind of takes away from Way of the Elements a little bit, so you're not quite as area focused. You're not quite doing as big attacks or stuff like that. But in turn, you got a little variety of you can use it maybe more.
Yeah, you're not doing as much damage, but you're getting more flexibility.
Yeah, definitely. Then the other one is a Ranger archetype for Drake Warden, where you gain a minor Drake that you can summon and keep to your side. Again, you learn Draconic, you learn Thaumaturgy as a cantrip. That counts as a Ranger spell for you. And then you get a Drake Companion.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you got like a little Dragon Companion.
I mean, considering it has an AC of 14.
Plus proficiency bonus.
Which isn't bad.
5 hit points plus 5 times your Ranger level. And the Drake is
not horrible.
And then its hit dice are equal to your Ranger level, if anything considers hit dice.
Right. Speed of 40 feet.
Strength 16, Dex 12, Con 15. In the end, Wisdom and Charisma don't really matter much. Dex +1 plus proficiency bonus. Wisdom +2 plus proficiency bonus. Draconic. The Drake's essence determines its immunities. It has dark vision. And it basically you choose an element that it gets immunity to, and its bite, the damage is fused with its strikes. So like, it gets 3 plus your proficiency bonus. Its strikes do 1d6 piercing plus proficiency bonus damage of the type of its essence. So if you like choose a fire one, and your proficiency bonus is 2, it adds 2 fire damage.
Yeah.
And the big other thing is, as a reaction, when another creature within 30 feet of the Drake that it can see hits with an attack, it infuses its essence, causing it to deal 1d6 extra type of its essence. So effectively, like, it also gets a reaction that he can, like, Master, you can also do my fire damage, or something like that.
And then you get at 7th level Bond of Fang and Scale.
You get resistance to the energy. Your Drake can either swim with breathing air or water, or fly, and its bite deals an extra 1d6 of its element. So then it does 1d6 piercing plus proficiency bonus, plus 1d6 plus proficiency bonus of damage of the element.
Yeah.
Then the Drake gets a breath weapon. It starts at 66, then it goes to 8d6. It can you get a breath weapon. Yeah, of your Drake's chosen element.
You get a breath weapon. Yeah. You get the breath weapon. Everybody gets a breath weapon.
Yes.
You just make a Ranger Monk party.
Well, that one, you get the breath weapon. You can use it once per long rest, or you can spend a 3rd level spell slot to use it again.
Yeah.
Oh, it's you or your Drake? Yeah, there it is. It is you or your Drake. Yeah, sorry.
And then at 15th, you get Perfected Bond. The Drake grows to large size.
Its bite
Drake
attack.
Bite attack goes an extra d6 damage of the chosen type, going to 2d6. And then when either of you or your Drake takes damage while you're within 30 feet of each other, you can use your reaction to give yourself or the Drake resistance to the instance of that instance of damage.
Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
I mean, I like both of them. Both of these are flavored really neatly, and the idea of like a little dragon companion that kind of grows with you and gives you dragon powers as a ranger is pretty cool too.
Well, the thing is, if you think about it at that point, you could build your person to be able to use that Drake as a mount when it gets the large size.
It is large.
And then you're always going to be within 30.
Hey,
if you focus that way, you could always be within 30 feet of your Drake.
Yep. I will always remember Tea Leaf. Good old Tea Leaf. I only played a few sessions of it, but back in the day when experimenting with some 5th edition, I think Chad did it in place of a few sessions that we had less people at. I remember being a halfling, Perrin, the paladin, and I tamed a Rage Drake and named it Tea Leaf and rode it around. And then I convinced some kobolds that I was like a tormentor that was hired by their army, even though I was a paladin halfling. So I became known as Perrin the Tormentor. Good times. They were silly times, but good times. I do feel like it doesn't scale quite perfectly, because when it says grows to large size, they don't include what that means. It's just large. It does slightly more bite damage and slightly more... No. Its bite attack's essence damage does slightly more. So nothing else changes with its size. It's just larger. What does it mean to grow large? I think that's something that I feel like it it doesn't have as much of a, because it counts as small originally, so you think its bite damage, which starts at d6, would go up in scale, or some other things would scale with it. Like if it's a large companion, then it has slightly different stats for when it kind of upgrades. You know, I don't know, but that's like, I feel like that's something that they would say in like Pathfinder, like its size changes, and then they'd give you some like statistical bonuses that you'd have the difference between it. You know, from going back to first edition Pathfinder lately. I don't know. I do agree, like, that the +7 attack bonus and AC of 18 isn't great. I guess it would be AC of 19 and base attack bonus of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah, flying mount and, you know, having a flying mount would be pretty good. Yeah. Or swimming mount if you're in, like, a very water-based game wouldn't be bad either. You know, I don't know. Breaking it down, I do feel like there is a little bit of questions about the entire thing here. That's not as good as it should be, and leaves things a little open as to what
especially going to large. It's like, shouldn't it get some stat bonuses then and penalties
or something as to what it means?
Normally
to be
the
large.
dex would go down, but the strength would go up.
Well, again, that's more traditional, like when you think about, you know, how things have worked in older editions. 5th edition's a little bit more
streamlined, I get it, but
yeah, and open-ended about those things. So I feel like the question about what it means to go from small to large isn't really defined, because it's like, it's 2 size category changes. It changes from the size of a halfling to the size of a horse. That's a big change. Yeah, it wasn't made with becoming a mount in mind. But even if it's not becoming a mount, if you think about it less becoming a mount and more becoming like a companion that you're going to fight with, yeah. So yeah, it's definitely different than something like the Fighter Cavalier, which, you know, it gets style for like having mount powers. Yes, you could ride it around when it gets large. It's not really what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be fighting side by side with a big old dragon. That's really the flavor of it. It's always been kind of like druids and rangers. They're never really meant for your larger companions to be the mount. And again, it's the same here. It's just, I don't know if it stats up. It should get more from just growing large, but they don't say. I don't know. I think it's odd. Yeah, I think it's one of those things that, like, I want to see them maybe clarify some stuff at some point in time. Or if they don't, what do people say about it? And I don't think we're that close on, because it only came out like a little bit more than a week ago. So I think we're just going to have to keep an eye on that one. I think the monk one is much better, a lot cooler. It's very neat. I like it a lot. I definitely want to see more on that. So yeah, good ideas, execution, not sure.
Yeah.
Let's move on, though, because we have two Munchkins that came out. Now, this is an interesting one. I will link the Munchkin and Mazes and Disney Munchkin in chat here for people that want to check them out. There's Munchkin and Mazes, and Munchkin Disney is... the OP is working with Steve Jackson Games to put it out. So Munchkin and Mazes it's packing a new edition. It's the most elf, they say elf referential Munchkin game yet, with cards inspired most popular role-playing game ever, the latest live stream crazes, the gaming hobby in general, and even Munchkin itself. So they've got some updated favorite cards, some whole new ones. I feel like this is almost like, because if you look at it, I don't know if it's supposed to be like a second edition or
some of these are definitely updated.
Well, like I look at these and none of them, like, other than the ones that are like classics, like the classes and sheet cards, you know, they're coming back. But I feel like it's like
Staff of Infection, I think's been a thing before.
I don't remember it at all.
And Dragon Bjorn was the thing before.
Was it?
Yeah, and Dorcas.
I don't remember Dorcas at all.
Dorcas was in one before. I know that.
Uh, no, I think it's only Munchkin and Mazes.
Huh. I swore I've seen Dorcas in before.
Yeah, that's the thing about it is, like, it sounds like something they would do. Even the Dragon Bjorn sounds like something they would do. But, like, if you look up, it only shows up in, stuff with Munchkins and Mazes. Granted, maybe some of these showed up in older ones randomly in, like, one of the expansions, but I don't know. Like, I just don't, like, see where it is, because if you, like, look for it, it just doesn't show up anywhere except for there. You know, and you'd think with Googling it, you'd find some information out about it.
Yeah, like I said, those two especially stand out in my mind that I've seen them before.
Well, I think the reason is because it's effectively a core Munchkin set. That's all it is. I don't even know the backs of the cards, because they don't show you the backs of these cards, which I'm curious, because they look a lot like... Okay, though. So, it does have the original backs for Munchkin. If you look at the back of the box, they show that there. So, it can be used with core Munchkin, but it is basically a core Munchkin in of itself, except not a core Munchkin. You know, it's weird. I put it in this, like, category of strange, but interesting, and not necessarily bad for Munchkins. Because, again, like, it's more referential things, you know, like, going on about, oh, hey, it's Orcus, the Dragon Bjorn instead of Dragonborn, the Brain Fletter, because of a Brain Flare, a Dire Gazebo instead of just a Gazebo, Hammer of Nail Firing, use your special dice, which is a 21 glued to it, Wield Shield, the Staff of Execution, Spider Snake, Dorcas. You know, there are a lot of, like, neat sounding cards. But again, I don't know. I would want to see, it's one of those sets that you'd want to see for yourself to really, like, get a sense of what it is in comparison to old Munchkins.
They have a dog gazebo.
Dire.
Oh, is it Dire?
It is Dire.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Which is the
it was very small. And I'm like,
Yeah. It's the bad joke of, like, make it like it's a dire wolf. It's like it's just a bigger ancient wolf. It's the bigger ancient gazebo.
Use your special die. Mine goes to 21.
Exactly. I mean, it's Munchkin. It's Munchkin that they're at least feel like they're recapturing some of old Munchkin, which is why I'm, like, a lot more up for it. Because, again, it's not branded. They're capturing, like, the jokes they made in the first Munchkin set, or any of the main, like, ones, like, Munchkin Bites, Munchkin Foo, Star Munchkin, Super Munchkin, Munchkin Western, Munchkin Booty. All of those captured, like, a genre of stuff. And they're not only recapturing fantasy genre, but then they're spoofing on the evolution of the fantasy genre with things like, streaming, current popular ones, current gaming hobbies, things with, like, this is like Skyrim, and, like, even a bit of themselves. It's a weird point to be in, because Munchkin is Munchkining itself a little bit.
Yeah, but they always do it. They've done that for a while now.
I don't think to this degree. Like, well, I mean, like, yes and no. It's always, like, more stuff based on the way they've done things before. This feels more like they're actually, like, like, hey, our reference is us.
Yeah.
That's a little different. Now, the other thing is Munchkin Disney, which is going to be done with USAopoly, and Steve Jackson Games working together to do it. So you find your favorite characters from across Disney, hunt for allies, collect gear, try to get to level 10, the usual Munchkin-y stuff. It's It's a themed Munchkin. I think that one is definitely like,
It is what it is.
It is exactly what it is. You're not going to ask for much more on that one. So again, like, I can't really like say much about it. It's interesting that the both of them came out together around the same time. Well, not technically together, around the same time, because it is like a huge juxtaposition on the evolution of Steve Jackson games and their models between their like branded stuff and their kind of core stuff, which they've been a little bit better on lately. And it's interesting to see them side by side. So,
yeah.
I mean, again, like, it's like Munchkin Disney. It's Disney and Munchkin. You can't really say much about it there that can't already be, said just by saying those words. It's Munchkin and Disney. You don't get much of a difference. I should have put the image of Munchkin and Mazes here. But I almost forgot to because I was chatting about it. I'll just put that one up. Burf. There, everybody. Right in between us. I don't think there's anything super different if you're reading about Munchkin, like Munchkin and Mazes. It's standard Munchkin. It's standard Munchkin gameplay. Like, yeah. And some of these flavored Munchkins tend to have a little bit of something to it. This one apparently you have a selection of roles. I don't know if you start as one of those roles or if you get them. Because as I look at what the role pages look like, they look to be like level trackers. So sort of like, it's almost a little bit more like I think the Marvel Munchkin had you start with like a little sheet that gave you stuff, for being that. Yeah. I think it's a little bit the same way. You're either heroine, villain, sidekick, adventurer, dreamer, or animal friend. What about just a norm? Okay, I'll give you that the majority... Disney tends to have a lot of strong female leads. What about the heroes? They don't also always have to be girls. Disney. Are those sidekicks or adventurers? Is that what you're putting them under? There's definitely some characters in your library that would be male heroes and female heroes, so I'm not saying either way. Same with sidekicks and adventurers. I want a little bit of hero, sidekick, and adventurer gender equality. Thank you very much.
None for you.
I said that, and as soon as I'm done saying it, this is the stupidest conversation ever I could have brought up. There is no reason to have that. There is no reason to have that. It's whatever. It doesn't matter. It doesn't goddamn matter. It never will. Whatever they want, it doesn't matter. There's no need for it. I'm saying something stupid.
Well, no, I mean, that it is true to a point, though, that it should be just the heroines. It should be both.
And I'm not against, like, having, like, the heroines front and center. That's fine. I never was saying against it. It's just that, like, there are both male and female Disney fans out there. What about them? I mean, like, they could be like, oh, I'm playing the heroine. Yay. But would that be what they want to play if you're doing it randomly or something? You could have just said, like, hero or heroine on it. I mean, like, villain, side... like, because those words are, unfortunately, they're gender-specific. All the other ones, they're not really. And that's fine. And I think that's one of those things is, like, we have to picture it that Disney oftentimes appeals to smaller children. And you don't want to, like, bust on those smaller children a little bit and, like, have little boys and little girls get what they, enjoyment out of it. But... I don't know. It's Munchkin also, so it has like an age cap that's really weird. 10 plus. 10 plus gets to that point in time where you're kind of like up in the air about who's going to like it or not, like Disney, depending on what Disney property it is. Some of them transcend everything. Other ones are just much more, based in, like appealing to one gender or the other.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, because there's a lot of like older references. Anyway. I feel like things like this oftentimes are going towards older audiences, which is also up in the air.
Yeah, it's hitting the nostalgia market.
And, like, I would say you need like a much more like, I was gonna say it there, and I'm like, why will I argue for this when like I've always been against like changing the English language because it's fucked up already enough. But I'm like, you just need something that's not hero or heroine, something in the middle, like general, neutral, heroic figure. Sure, why not? Let's introduce that. So anybody could be like, oh wait, we have it, just heroic.
Yeah, I mean, or you could also just do what they do, like with some words like actor. Yes, you could use actress, but you can also call an actress just an actor. You can make the term general for both parties.
This is, again, like a weird conversation I wasn't really thinking of getting into. It's an incredibly strange conversation.
Yes. You can continue.
Yeah, like I'm just gonna say here, I would much rather have had like more people here to talk about this kind of thing. It's like, what's your opinion on like specifically pointing out that yes, there's a huge gender gap in the Disney appeal for at least their classic animations.
We're just two guys right now.
Yes. We're very bad for part of the conversation. It's like I can say there's plenty of Disney movies that I'm a fan of, and then there's those that I'm like, I grew out of it, or I never got into it because it was just not my type of movie. But again, it's like everything appeals that way. So I can't really specifically say like it's Disney or not. Yeah, okay. Anyway, this has been a weird conversation. Let's move on. I'm tired of weird conversations that just went in weird directions.
You're a weird conversation.
I am, but that's besides the point. So now, let's talk about something that at least both of us enjoy. Fluxx! And of course, Fantasy Fluxx.
I can't find Fantasy Fluxx. I found Fairy Tale Fluxx.
Here, I'll link it in the chat here. There it is. It's available January 7th. So that's a big thing about it. It's not even out yet.
Yes.
It's a standard Fluxx. Gather your friends for a party. An adventuring party is. So like you get like helpful elf, dwarf warrior, gallant swordsman, and wise old wizard. You can learn cranky magic. You learn from the cranky magic teacher. And there's wands. It's cast spells like invisibility or fireball. Encounter a dreadful pirate or capture princess.
I just want to learn cranky magic.
Cranky magic teacher. Sorry.
No, I just want cranky magic now.
I know you would. That seems about right.
I cast Get Off My Lawn.
That seems about right for you. Get off my lawn, damn kids.
I cast an onion on my belt.
The only cards that I can see is like the four they're showing on is the gallant swordsman, who is totally, I think, supposed to be like Amigo Montoya if you look at it.
It's definitely Amigo Montoya.
I must have the ring, which you have Dark Lord plus Magic Ring. Mythery play. I don't know what the hell that is. I can't really read all the rules. And then the Fireball spell for actions. So... you can discard this card if you discard the Trove of Treasures of Magic Ring for play. So it's like the card The Dungeon, which is totally black. So I don't know if that works differently. It might be a creeper that's just black. I feel like The Dungeon if I'm looking at that one there. So I mean, like, again, it's Fluxx. I like Fluxx. And it's just the standard Fluxx, like, space Fluxx or like pirate Fluxx, zombie Fluxx, eco Fluxx, normal Fluxx. I like those because they have like they have their versions of tropes and references that you're gonna get, and they're fun, and they can have them combined, and that's something you can't have when I do like the branded Fluxxes too. I can't say that they're bad. But when you're playing with the branded Fluxxes, the problem is, well, then it's only that. Like, if I'm playing Space Fluxx, I have references to, like, Star Trek, Star Wars, Doctor Who, and a whole bunch of other things. When I'm playing just Star Trek Fluxx, I just have Star Trek references, which aren't necessarily bad, but I don't feel like I'm like mixing and matching my like I'm doing the sci-fi one or I'm doing like that's why I like these a little better because as already we can see like we have Lord of the Rings references and like probably gonna have some other like probably maybe like D&D references and a goddamn Princess Bride one like they even mention it like the dreadful pirate or like the Mother of Dragons, which means they're gonna have a Game of Thrones reference.
Okay, so the Mithri play looks like it's once during your turn you may take the top card of the draw pile and play it immediately.
Okay.
So it's like a mystery play.
Okay.
They have, if you go to the retailer thing, they have a high res image with the cards. It's easier to read it with zoomed in.
Well, I could read that, but I thought it might have been cut off a little bit more. I did see that.
And then discarding a fireball, you discard a card of any type and play anywhere except the basic rules and any other meta rules. Alternatively, you can choose to force another player to discard their entire hand of cards. After your turn is over, if you have a spellcaster in play, put this back into your hand.
Yeah.
Ew.
Mm-hmm.
That's mean.
It is indeed mean. No, I do like the looks of it. Like this is one that like stands out to me. Like, oh hey, this is awesome. We haven't seen like they've had a lot of branded Fluxxes lately. We haven't had like a normal just it's Fluxx, and
yeah,
I'm kind of happy to see it. Not that I can like bother about like like because like on their news soon is like Voyager Fluxx, SpongeBob Fluxx, and I think we talked about Astronomy Fluxx, which is kind of fun, but that's more of like educationally Fluxx. Which
how about Anatomy Fluxx?
I don't know if they have that.
They do.
Okay. Well, they've got a lot of them.
And it's in their Fluxx games. Anatomy Fluxx.
Well, they have a lot of them. Well, again, they have a couple that are like almost you call them the educational Fluxxes in a way. I would call them like the anatomy, astronomy, like even like the eco Fluxx, nature Fluxx. I think eco Fluxx is like out of the rotation.
Yeah.
But it's like the entire like or math Fluxx too. Apparently that's a thing, math Fluxx.
Part of the vaulted games.
Yeah.
Oh no, they got a vault like Disney.
Mm-hmm. Which was Adventure Time, Batman, Cartoon Network, Martian, Family Fluxx, Eco Fluxx, Oz, Regular Show Fluxx. I mean, they got a lot of branded Fluxxes. They put a bunch of those out right now, Friggin' they have 4 Star Trek Fluxxes.
And a Jumanji Fluxx.
Yeah, I forgot about that one. But anyway, I think we talked about that. But no, Fantasy Fluxx, I'm allowed to have like just a generic Fluxx. Again, I like those, and it's not that I mind like again like those those ones that I could call the educational Fluxxes because they're kind of cool. They show off things like the anatomy, astronomy, the math,
chemistry,
the chemistry. Those are neat because they have you can play Fluxx, but you can also have like a level of like a little bit of education to it. Those are nice. They have places for them. They're fun. I feel like that's a little bit more just family friendly. This one, it can be family friendly anyway, but it's got that fantasy references that us older folks will really like. So,
yeah,
happy to see it. I was gonna throw an image up, but I think we'll just hit quickly here. That Alien RPG launched on virtual tabletops like Roll20 and stuff, so you can get the core rule books and all their books and stuff up on that. So again, it's not like a huge thing, but it's something that occurred, that's like, hey, now these are up online on your, like Roll20 and stuff, where they have a lot of like Shadowrun, World of Darkness, Pathfinders, D&Ds. Those things are easy to find.
Well, I think in the time of still beating coronavirus, it does make a difference.
Well, again, I feel like we also have to call it it's a difference too. Because if you compare, a lot of the games that show up on Roll20, they start out with the bigger companies and the bigger name games first. Free League Press, I'd say is a mid-tier RPG publisher. not like a small tier one. They do put out a good number of games. They've got New Year Zeros, like Symborum, Tales from the Loop, Forbidden Lands, Coriolis, and this one. Those are all decently named RPGs that have some backing to them. But the problem is if I name all of those are still like middle tier RPGs, I'd say, for like famousness. They're not the really small, independent, maybe put out one book ever RPG games. These are, we're going to put out a few to support them. But again, the level of support and how it comes up on things like the virtual tabletop stuff, which then you have programmed in stuff for. That's the important thing. When you have that programmed stuff in for there. It's sort of like, even though it's really hardly incomplete, Pathfinder, 1st edition, 2nd edition, has some stuff up in Roll20.
Yeah.
D&D 5th edition has things up in Roll20, even though it's more like just like basic core stuff. So you can reference it there, or go to places. They have a level of free stuff to them that makes them unique. I think World of Darkness doesn't, but World of Darkness doesn't really have a huge thing for it. They have a decent sheet. That's my entire thing there. I'm not sure as much with Shadowrun if it's just more than a decent sheet either, too. I just know that they have decent sheets that are up there. So, no, it's good to see things showing up in places. I like expanding of RPGs and stuff. This is, like, good news, even though, like, I think I was originally going to have us, like, kind of capstone last week's news with talking about this a little bit more, but at this point in time, I think I just want to keep it relatively simple and pretty much say, like, it's something to keep an eye out on. Unless you want to add anything to this entire endeavor.
No, I'm not a big Aliens person in general, so...
I'm middle of the ground. I like a few of the movies and hate a bunch of them, so... and the big ones that's on are Roll20 and Fantasy Grounds, so... yeah. They have the virtual tabletop version of the starter set in Roll20, and everything, all the rules and stuff you need to play the full-length cinematic scenario Chariot of the Gods. You can also find the Destroy of the World scenario in their thing. On Fantasy Grounds, you can find the full core rulebook, and then the Chariot of the Gods Destroy Our Worlds. So, that's what they got. Want to talk about Star Treks?
Yes, always.
I understand that. I can understand that. It's
especially that Klingon book looks freaking awesome, and I want it.
Oh, the collector's edition of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, the collector's edition looks pretty cool. So yeah. I mean, I'm going to be showing up the collector's edition image here because that's the one I linked to Joe. But both of them are out now. I think you can get, at very least in print. I think you might have been able to get the PDF a little earlier, but the print versions are, in fact, released now. And I think we did talk about the Star Trek Klingon book a little earlier.
Yeah.
This is something that definitely, I think, for the long-term use of the Star Trek Adventures RPG, I think something like this is critical in a way. Because as much as I'd like to say, like, well, can you get enough of playing Star Trek? Well, there's a lot of options in it. But if you think about it, every Star Trek game, just like every Star Trek show, has a similar basis to it. It's the same kind of world, universe that you're putting yourselves into. And I think that's why, if you consider something like this book here, it's something very different. It's putting you into the entire, again, the Klingon Empire, which is a very different setting. So as soon as you have that, you've kind of altered the look of things. And you've kind of chosen to have, like, a different course on things. Again, not necessarily bad. You know, it's definitely something that I can say, like, well, you know, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, you could just do an entire Klingon game, and
Yes. You definitely could. It gives you that option of doing an entire Klingon game. And I think that's one of the interesting things about it. That it gives you a very different option for a very different kind of adventure set in the same kind of world. And I think that's a good thing for the health of an RPG system, because it gives players and game masters like very good options for putting together games and not being pushed to one thing. Granted, like, I probably could have played a Klingon campaign with just the normal core rule books, but I would be relying on my knowledge or research at that point in time. Having a book like this can give specialized rules, equipment, character options, things that make it feel like I don't... And it gives less work and less customization, too. I'm sure there are other, like, maybe we'll see more books like this. I think that would be good.
I love Klingons.
Mm-hmm. The other thing that came out around this time was this came out this week also, was the Back to Reality supplement, which it's a standalone 17-page PDF adventure set during the Next Generation era. It contains advice for adapting and for adaptation for use of campaigns based on Star Trek eras. So, like, again, like, you can put it to other eras. They give rules for that. And they got regular version or print-friendly versions if you want to print it out. It's a small adventure. That's what it is. If the player characters continue to investigate the dangerous asteroid field, they are confronted with doppelgangers from a different quantum reality where the board reigns supremes. That's an interesting one.
It makes me think of the Next Gen episode where they keep meeting all the different enterprises from different Enterprise Ds in different universes.
Yeah. No.
So I'm like, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. I think it'll be.
I think these mini adventures like that are great because, like, if you're doing your own adventure and you want it maybe like a side thing or something, you could easily switch that in.
Wait a second here. We're frozen up on OBS.
Oh yeah, I look ridiculous on stream.
I'm checking the stream to see what it looks like now.
I'm sitting there like...
Oh, there it goes. There it goes. We started moving.
Yay!
I just noticed we stopped moving, and I was like, interruption of some kind.
Fun!
Yay! Interruptions of some kind.
Yay! Technical difficulty.
Hurrah! They happen.
But I think these small adventures are great because you could drop them into a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or you can just have it like do a one shot.
Definitely. No, I think it adds a little bit. It's interesting. It certainly allows for some very interesting choices, and I'm definitely feel like I'd be behind kind of suggesting both of these things. The Klingon book, as I think we talked about it before. It's good. It's good for what it is. It's definitely something to check out. Definitely would recommend it just because, hey, you're going to have fun with it. It's going to be like, a different kind of thing. And then the adventure, because the adventures they do pretty good adventures here. And again, like, I definitely recommend writing your own version of it. It's like what I kind of recommend a lot of times, for as much as you can. If you can, write your own version of a pre-made adventure. Alter it how you can. Think of ways that you can kind of evolve it around what your characters are and what they're doing.
Right.
So, yeah.
No, I think I'm always happy to see when they put out a little
Star Trek.
Star Trek adventure or a new book or something. So
Yeah.
great system.
So Joe, what's your mini topic that you wanted to bring to us?
I just saw a brief thing that apparently Magic was supposed to roll out. Oh god, my brain is not working today now. Arena to mobile devices this year, and it's now postponed until next year.
I mean, like, I felt like we could have talked a little bit about Magic because of the state of things. Because, like, I've been watching a couple of other Magic YouTubers talk about some of the things about what's coming up with their Commander set because it's Commander Legacy approval. Because effectively they made a Black Lotus for Commander.
Ooh.
It's specifically a Black Lotus that puts out Commander cards. So it's a 0 mana, sacrifice for 3 that you can only use to cast a Commander. It's not that good, technically.
Yeah.
But it's going for a ridiculous amount on pre-order when the set's not even out yet. And people think it's like a breaker. And it's like, there was, like, I saw a joke that someone made. It's like, are we going to see, like, you know, other reserved list, or like, you know, cards that can't be printed anymore, a version of them specifically for Commander? I don't know.
Yeah, that's kind of surprising since, you know, it's been banned for...
Again...
ever.
It's only useful in Commander, you know, it really only is.
I get it, it's just...
And I think, like...
It's surprising they would bring out something that's... At this point that even references it, you know what I mean? It's like...
Yeah.
Other than maybe Unglued.
I don't know. They have, like, a weird mixed bag of weird things in the Commander Legacy, or whatever, I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head because I'm forgetful. The new Commander booster set. Because that's what it is, it's a Commander booster set. Instead of, like, one of these pre-made decks, it's a booster set where you can buy booster boxes. And, like, I heard people, like, talking about drafting this, and I'm like, how the frick do you draft this actually playing Commander? Because they're supposed to be for Commander. Because you're supposed to have 100 cards, except for basic lands, they're supposed to be different. How do you do that? How do you draft that? You know? How do you draft that except having a billion set packs? You can draft normal Magic pretty quickly because you have the, oh hey, I could have like 45 cards. I don't have to have the 60. 45 is a big difference than 100. And I can have doubles in that 45.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. I think that's my complaint about that one. But that's a mild complaint. Maybe we'll talk about that one of these weeks here, when it's getting a little closer to coming out. It's coming out one of these weeks, so, you know, maybe once it's out, we'll talk about it a little bit, because I think neither of us have really done a lot of Commander. I have Commander decks, I just don't normally play with them as Commander. So, you know, it's something to discuss. But maybe get a guest on. I should probably get a guest on at some point in time anyway. Grumble. People, yeah. Grumble.
Like I said, I just wanted to throw that one in there just because it's like, thought it was interesting. It's like, oh, they're supposed to do a mobile version. It was supposed to come out this year. It's going out next year now.
I don't have a deeper discussion. The only Kickstarter Korner I could throw out there is, I think the Bessem 4th edition secondary Kickstarter X is out.
I'll throw out a ridiculous one.
Go
ahead first.
Oh, you go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, I think I'm belching a little bit. I was saying the new there's going to be another Bessem Kickstarter coming out with a new bunch of stuff, and I don't know if it's out yet or not. So, but what were you going to say?
D20 soap with dice set inside. You can keep your dice extra clean. I just saw this and I thought it was kind of ridiculous. It's literally a 20-sided a D20 that's soap with dice inside it. So as you clean yourself, you get rewards.
Uh-huh.
Hopefully it doesn't, like, you know, hopefully they're big enough that they won't go down your shower drain.
Oh, and
yeah.
they different scents depending on like the class you have. Like fighter is warm and spicy kind of scent. Blue, which is the wizard, is incensey. Ranger is green, so it has very like pine smells. And bard is purple, so it's floral with lavender and stuff.
Which makes sense for all of it. And the stretch goals is additional. One of the stretch goals is additional sets and bath and body products and expanding party classes and themes.
Mm-hmm.
But I just thought it was kind of ridiculous. It's like, also their advertisement at the top of roll a nat 20 on your charisma check. So if you're looking for a stocking stuffer
for your role playing nerd,
nerds, there you go. Get a 2-in-1. You can tell them to clean up and get them a new set of dice at the same time.
Yes.
Although, depending on how big it is, it might take them a while to get all the dice out.
Mm-hmm.
If you're going to actually use it as real soap.
Yes.
Because I can see somebody just, like, breaking it apart and like, I just want my dice out here. But interesting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It was the most interesting thing that I actually saw, so I'm just like, yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah. The only other Kickstarter I'm paying attention to hasn't even started yet, so we'll leave that to wait until it begins. So, I guess let's move on to our weeks in tabletop. We have 2 weeks now.
2 weeks covered.
What the hell did I play over the last 2 weeks? I think
we wrapped up
Grinding
Gears.
We did.
Ooh, excuse me.
I think that's where we started with our wrap up of Grinding Gears. So we've had 1 week off now from it. Have we?
Actually, oh no, did we talk about the wrap up of Grinding Gears last time?
I don't know.
Let me check my
calendar.
Weeks off. We've had 2 weeks off of Grinding Gears so
yes,
far.
I can check a virtual calendar of information and give you that exact, like, when the finale date was. It was on the 25th. So that would have been...
God, it's the 17th already. Or 7th already, not 17th. I'm reading off. I can read today. 25th.
We didn't have it. We didn't talk about it.
No, we haven't talked about it.
We didn't talk about it. Now that I'm looking
last week we would have talked about it.
Yes, we would have talked about it last week.
Yeah, so we finished off Grinding Gears.
Yep.
You guys ended up destroying all of them.
Yeah, well, you know. Mm-hmm.
All 3 aspects of Fedor.
Mm-hmm.
And Blaze tried to send himself to the void with the gods.
Yeah.
And oh god, what's his name? The god Ao stepped in.
Yeah.
And rewarded you for cleaning up the mess that Fedor left, because he didn't really want to get off his butt and actually have to deal with it.
Of course not. I mean, that was actually incredibly Ao. You know, Ao is just sort of like he's the god of gods, and he's sort of like, I'll get to it if I need to.
Yeah, he's like, I've been watching the situation. I thought I was gonna have to step in. Thank you guys for not having me waste my energy. So here, have some boons. Rimby is now the new god of technology.
Mm-hmm.
Banner, you got back to your originating town.
Mm-hmm.
And decided to stay in your body. and kind of have eternal life.
Yeah.
As long as you want it. You can give it up. Let's see. Syndra
Got buff.
is now buff wizard.
That was hilarious, and I really liked that one.
Yeah, she has 20s in all her physicals now. It's just like
Buff wizard.
Buff wizard baker. And
Swift was the one that gave us the immortality to keep going until, I think. Yes. That's what Swift was.
And then also Swift is now in his back in his actual body, which is much, much, much younger.
It's gonna be a bit of adventures.
Swift.
Mm-hmm. And then, so that was an adventure.
And then also Rimby gifted you guys stuff.
Did he?
He gifted Banner a book that has
all the memories,
all your memories that you guys had sat and talked about.
Yeah.
He gave. What did he give Syndra?
I don't remember. She knows all the recipes.
She knows all the recipes from her parents' recipe book, and
I forget what Swift got.
I know what Swift got.
Oh.
He gave him a stick, a metal rod. Whenever he licks it, it's a different flavor each time.
Yes.
Because you guys did lose all your magical gear.
Yeah.
But he also gave you guys a nice amount of gold and a house to live in.
Yeah, so hey, I mean, we're not too bad off in comparison to some of the things that we could be. So we're like, well, let's figure out what we're doing next. Let's see here. Records of Evil. I had that both weeks. On our new time and day, we started that. So we're now Mondays at 1 p.m. Because Tuesday mornings we were having some issues with. And so we talked about it, and we decided we could move to... We're all free on Mondays a little bit more in the afternoon. We've had more success with those. So that's been good. They've been continuing adventuring in the kind of haunted murder mansion, where they found out that it was filled with haunted and murder. And most of the team effectively altered their perceptions of reality. They effectively went in and played around with some crap, which made them perceive on the edge of reality, kind of looking into the ethereal plane, except it's the portion of the material plane that's connected with the far realm, so it's alien and Cthulhuian. So it's really kind of more awful. Yeah. So they did that. And then on Legacies of Kain, they had some adventures in the Caribbean. They got pissed off at some gangrels. They almost got Dawn murdered by sending her to a horrible, evil, which I called a Cenobite dimension. It was kind of like that, it was I don't think it was exactly like Hellraiser, but it felt like one of those really horror, weird kind of monstery dimensions. It's please don't take me there anymore. It's and the person that took him with him is I don't go in there. I have a perfectly fine time when transporting across time and space. And it's yeah, no, you drop everyone else off at other places. Please don't do that. You walk between the lines. We don't when you transport us. And then they met Baron Samedi, who's friendly. And when you have a powerful vampire that's friendly with you, it's never good. Of course not. And he offered one of them, friendship. It's you can join with me and help me out. Totally not offer that would backfire and, result you being my servant. Cough, cough, cough.
Why would it?
Yeah.
He's trustworthy. Just let him join your party.
I think I haven't had either of the week's sessions of Pathfinder 2nd Edition. Because I think stuff's come out both weeks.
Hmm.
I have had 1 week of Carrion Crown, which they continued their doing the trials, which I think they did finish day 2 of the trial, and they've been working on day 3. That they'll probably, hopefully this week, get to. And then I think we had 2 of Children of Wrath, where you got to Carrie's village, met some of her family, learned that there was a giant monster there that Maxwell hadn't told you about.
Learned some inappropriate things about about her father.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And Carrie's conception.
Yep. Had some good time, family time. Learned that, like, everybody's been moving on in a decade that she hasn't been around. Learned that there's a giant monster. Confronted said giant monster. And this last week, you fought said giant monster.
Colossal monster.
I'm sorry, yeah. Colossal monster, which you were also like... Carrie was like, let's go fight it. And the rest of you were like, why are we fighting this?
Well, I ran up because I'm like, oh god, Carrie got swallowed and spit out, and she's like right there.
Yeah. She did like fly into its mouth. It was hilarious. Yes. I'm like, so 30 feet off the ground. Right. Perfect height. Just yum.
I mean, it was camouflaged.
Yeah.
So Carrie didn't see it coming.
No, and I'm like, Carrie, you do not see it. They can point you in the general direction where it is, but you do not see it. The other people have noticed slight differentiations that they've been able to tell the difference of. It's sort of like, when someone points out something like on a hidden pictures kind of thing. Maybe you can see it, but sometimes it's like you're looking around for it, but you still sometimes can completely miss it.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And we learned it spit acid.
Yeah, that was pleasant.
And I completely dodged it, which unfortunately...
You didn't... Kaz didn't dodge it.
Yeah, well, Kaz took half damage from it sitting on my shoulder.
Yeah, Kaz...
It's like, oh, I guess I kind of dodged and Kaz got in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Kaz, for being my acid shield.
It's like, melt. You're welcome. Melt.
And also I learned that when I take my duopathy form, I do not have scent.
Yeah, it's good.
Hey, smell me!
Yeah. And you got to check out its lair a little bit. And we were just ending where you were leaving its lair and not getting murdered by it, even though it's seemingly sensed you a little bit. It just...
We also learned that with the help of Nim, I can become Venom.
Yes, that was a good one.
It's like, oh, he gave me the ability to cast webbing out of my black tentacly body, and it comes out as black tentacle thing.
Well, out of your shadowy body of darkness.
Body. Yeah, so it comes out as black shadow tendrils. It's like, yeah, I'm Venom.
Mm-hmm. Rats, you Venom. I think that was pretty much our week in gaming, because we... Yeah.
Everything
had
else
2 weeks off of Star Trek? Did we finish? I think we talked about finishing that up. Yeah, God.
Yeah, we did.
And I don't think...
finished up before...
Grinding Gears.
Grinding Gears did, yeah.
I don't think we'll have any more Star Trek until after...
Next year.
Well, Josh has finished moving. He just has to worry about his new daughter being born, and then he's got to find out what his schedule is going to be like. He wants to add...
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's probably not going to happen until at least next year.
Yeah,
January.
Yeah, maybe January. If things stabilize well, we might see it in December. We're gonna have to play it by ear.
Yeah.
Again, like how much time you have to take with a newborn is kind of like.
Well, considering we got the holiday still.
Well, we're saying like when your newborn comes, Josh, we're not sure how long it's going to take you to like stabilize and get like a stream schedule and stuff.
But we got Christmas and New Year's in December.
That's true. It's like hard to get a lot of new stuff.
And
in New Year's
you're going to need a few weeks.
Joe's right. All right, I was giving you the benefit of the doubt that you'd be like expert father and develop stuff. But probably January is like not against like.
Yeah, the first few weeks of having a newborn is nothing but being up almost 24 hours a day, changing diapers and feeding.
Wasn't said it was going to be difficult. I was just giving Josh the benefit of the doubt, And so he said prob January,
Yes.
I'm saying, I was agreeing with you, probably January, but like if things go well, maybe late December or something. But yeah, you're right, Christmas, which kind of dicks around with everything. The holiday season's never like as much of anything to me, so I never think about it as much. It's just like, there's a day. We're having
your
stuff happen.
niece.
It's a day. Things are happening. There's a small child there that's yelling about something and getting gifts. Yeah, so. So, how about we move on to our final segment where we talk about consulting the table, unless there's something you can think of. Because I think that's our week in tabletops, or our weeks in tabletops in this case.
Yeah, I think it's a good time to wrap up.
Yeah, so thank you everyone out there for joining us. Been amazing adventures. Definitely there's things to check out there if you want to. If you want to check us out, you can check out any of my my Discord. That's a great way of reaching me and Joe. There's, of course, good old Twitter for @Dracovin for me, @JWSeeker81 for Joe. There's discussingtabletop@yahoo.com. You can message us on Twitter, add us on Twitter. You can message us on Discord. You can leave it in the comments of this channel here. You can... I'm forgetting something, aren't I?
My brain's not working enough.
No, I agree. My brain's not working either. I'm sure there's other ways you could... live on Twitch here. Or the description of YouTube when it goes up on there. There you go. I remembered. Sometimes I do properly remember things. Go me. No. So yeah. I'm trying to drop stuff and play around with things and break things. Thanks for joining us today. I think it was a good one. We got to talk about a lot of interesting things. Got to discuss a lot of our cool things going on that we have gone on the last couple of weeks. For those of you out there that everything has been a stressful time, I hope you all had a great Halloween. We didn't get to chat about that a little bit, or any kind of horror games or stuff like that. I hope that, all of you out there, regardless of how things have gone in your mindset for the election, it's over. Let's, get on with our lives, figure out, how to move on with existence. There you go.
Yes.
Excellent. I don't know what else to say about that other text there. So, I just wanted to have, a little bit of, stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane. Enjoy our cool things that are coming up, all the RPGs, gaming streams that are coming up from my end and stuff like that. And continue to join us here for Discussing Tabletop as things change and evolve. There'll probably be new stuff on the channel, different things changing around, and we'll keep you all informed about where it's coming, how's it going, all that stuff. So, again, thanks for joining us today.
Yep.
I hope everybody had a great time, feeling good, and hopefully we'll see you all next week, and see you all at various other points during the week when we're doing things. So, but until then, folks, farewell, auf Wiedersehen.